This is Manley with verticallessons.com. In this video, I'm going to share with you how to stand out more, earn more, and be more fulfilled. Big promise, I know. The answer to that is the answer to the same question I get a lot. In the professional speaking world now, I've had a lot of my colleagues say, why do you spend so much money on personal and professional development? And my joking answer is, I need a lot of help. This is true. But I got the same question a lot in the corporate world as well. People would always ask, why do you always going to classes? You're always trying to get a certification or do something. The reason I always do it, and I didn't always do it actually, but the reason I started doing it in the year 2000, I was making a major career shift into a full-time, very serious and high demanding IT career. And I was very anxious about it, and I didn't know what I needed to know to be as successful as I wanted to be. I didn't know what I needed to know to be as successful as I wanted to be. So I walked myself through a little three-part framework that I'm going to share with you to make sure that I'm evaluating and making choices every year to develop myself professionally and personally so that I'm always earning more, I'm always standing out from the crowd, and I'm always hopefully even more fulfilled. I believe just being engaged in learning in and of itself can be very fulfilling and help you feel more engaged in life and like you're making progress and you're challenged. So one major advantage. The biggest advantage of all, though, is that it just pays, period, financially and in a fulfillment way. But I have always found that every time I invest in myself, and especially if you could get a certification or something, training that moves you forward, you're going to get some kind of return. As a matter of fact, it's the only investment consistently in my life that's always paid me back, is investing in myself. So often that is in a professional sense, but also in a personal world too. I'll share examples in both areas. So let me walk you through the framework really quickly. It's 3 A's of mastery is what I call it. So the first A is very simple. It's awareness. The awareness is driving the awareness question around, where do I need some help to get some more skills or to become more valuable for those I serve? So within the awareness, I divide it into 2 different sub buckets. One is, there are 2 P's. One is professional and then impersonal. Every year I step back and I ask myself, in my personal life, where could I use some development this year, some improvement? What area do I want to improve? This has ranged over the years from everything from health. I've hired a strength coach before to get me back engaged and trying to work out consistently. I've done a lot of work around that. I've also recently hired a meditation coach to help me go deeper into my meditation practice. I believe that is the gateway right now into which I will really be able to achieve more in my life. I have hired a relationship coach. My wife and I did a few years back. The strain of starting a business and the strain of me on our relationship was creating some tension, and I felt like we needed, and we both agreed that we needed to invest in ourselves to become stronger. We had a good relationship, but it wasn't perfect, never is. So we spent a lot of money to bring on a coach onto our team for a little while, and I went to a seminar as well. So those are some examples. It could also be, of course, professional life. Ask your boss, ask colleagues, do a Google search. What are the top, fill in the blank, your profession, what certifications do they hold? Now, some people push back and say, well, certifications aren't, they're not going to just get you hired. Absolutely not. And I can tell you from experience on both sides of that table that they won't just alone get you in the door, but they will give you an advantage and an edge. And I'll tell you why. I have been sitting on the hiring side of the fence multiple times, and I'll share 2 scenarios that were specific. In one situation, actually in multiple situations when hiring, I can tell you, when you have a stack of applicants sitting on the desk, in which I've gone through tons of interviews trying to find the right candidate to fill a position. Of course, the interview is important. Of course, past experience is important. Some testing and stuff might be important as well. But when the person had certifications and seemed to be engaged in learning and constantly improving themselves, it tells the person one thing for sure. I always knew that they were probably going to be a self-starter, that they're probably going to be more engaged and more of a go-getter. And they always stood out. But now, we wouldn't just hire them just on that alone, but it gives you an edge. And wouldn't you agree, whether it's promotion or moving laterally or moving on to another position, you want to have every advantage you can. Same for if you're a business owner or leader. You want to have every advantage you can to lead and influence and impact your group and your organization to make a difference so that you can have a lasting impact and make more money. So that was always a factor in interviews, and it definitely stood out, and we looked for it actively. And then secondly, internally for people who were promoted or getting pay raises. I remember some of the more trying years post 2008 when there wasn't much money to go around, virtually no money to go around for raises. We were on hiring and a raise and promotion freeze. I remember having a conversation with my boss, and he said, "Who's going out and getting training for themselves, even though we're not paying for it? Who is going out on their own dollar, out of their own pocket, and getting trained and investing in themselves?" So we had this conversation, and what little money we scraped together to do some raises that year and some minor promotions and moves went to people who were all investing in themselves. So that right there, if you're a business owner, you get it, right? If you're an independent entrepreneur, you're probably doing that already. If you're not, if you're an employee, you might be stuck in what I call the employee mindset. And I was stuck in it for many years as well. Like, well, if I'm going to get training, then the employer's going to pay for it. If they don't pay for it, I'm not going. I'm telling you something. If you'll just trust me on this, I know it's perhaps a leap in your mindset, but consider this. If you will invest in yourself and step up, and regardless of whether the boss is going to pay for it, the company's going to pay for it, you're going to stand out in a major way. I can tell you, it makes a difference. And you're investing in yourself. If they won't pay for it, don't let them stop you. You're just basically handing over your development and your career to them. So why do that? Hopefully the organization can pay for it, but if they can't, don't let that stop you. Step up and get more engaged in investing in yourself. It always pays off. I'm telling you, it does. And it's just can be fun. You're getting engaged and learn. And it does make a difference. So that's all falls under that first A, awareness. Where do I need to focus in my personal life, my professional life, and develop? What kind of courses can I take? What kind of certifications might I be able to get? Maybe it's just a book that you want to dive into. Maybe you want to dive into a book with a friend or a colleague or your mate. Maybe they're not interested in learning. I've had moments like that where I was wanting to move forward in an area and my wife wasn't, and vice versa. But don't let that hold you back either. So just start moving forward and learning in that area. That's the A for awareness. The second A is advantage, and that is finding that resource that you need and then going and investing in it if it takes it to be out of your pocket, and making sure you're actually finding an advantage. Maybe it's a coach, maybe it's a book, maybe it's a course or a seminar or a certification. What advantage can you give yourself to get that information you need and have the support you need to make sure that you do the last A, which is the hardest, and that's to take action. The third A is action, to consistently start applying some of the ideas you've learned in this class or certification or whatever that is, and to making sure that you're getting real return on your investment. And then start to shine the light and making others aware in your organization of what you've been doing to develop yourself. Or in your personal life, it rubs off, and people start seeing that, like, oh, man, maybe I got a book at home. I need to start, I need to reread that. I need to start doing that again. It really inspires others in your life to step up, educate, take control, and invest in themselves, and it helps everybody. When one ship rises in the harbor, all rise, right? So very important, huge part of my success in every part of my life. It's not because I'm smarter or anything like that. I do work hard. That's, of course, absolutely essential. But I've started seeing this work early on in my professional career in the year 2000, and it made such a difference that I made a commitment that every year I would dive deep and try to advance myself in some key area in my personal life and my professional life. And in my professional life now, I actually dive in and advance myself in two areas. One is my actual business acumen and something that directly impacts just business operations and growth. And then I also try to work on my craft, and that is, for me, primarily speaking and speaking skills. How can I be as good as I possibly can at what I do? So you don't have to have two areas in your professional life, but at least one. What's the one skill set that you can lift up this year and that will make a difference for you? I want to hear from you. I want to hear what that might be for you. What's the area in your personal life you might be engaged in developing and growing yourself, and your professional life? What is something you're considering doing in your professional life, whether boss is paying for it or not? Where are you stepping up? Where are you learning? Maybe it's just something you've always been interested in. It's really cool. It's really fun to do that again and to embrace learning as we did, as children and growing up. And it's easy to get away from it and get caught in the grind. Please share what that is for you. And if this video is valuable to you and you found it inspirational or insightful in any way, please share it with others in your life. I appreciate that. And I look forward to hearing from you and what you might be becoming aware of, what advantage you're going to use to move yourself forward, and what actions you're going to take next to make sure you're always growing, that you're always actually earning more, contributing more, standing out, and then being more fulfilled from your efforts of growth. So thanks a lot. Talk to you soon. Thanks.